In the previous episode of Sheila Lives Out Loud, we did live out loud with MaryLize Biubwa, a young lady who's all about advocacy and ensuring that young girls can speak up in the event of atrocious acts like rape. One of the media that she employs in making sure that young girls' voices are heard is social media. So let's talk about social media, and MaryLize Biubwa will not be alone. She will be joined by Lovine Mboya on the quest to give voice to difficult issues online. Hello and welcome to Sheila Lives Out Loud. My name is Sheila Mwanyega and we are at the Westwood Hotel in sunny Nairobi. So glad that you can check out this channel. Remember to hit subscribe and click on notifications and never miss an episode of the show. And it's all about social media on this one and giving voice to difficult issues to online audiences across the globe. Joining me for this conversation are two brilliant ladies. We just spoke with MaryLize Biubwa, and that's how I made a connection with her online. But it wasn't through MaryLize, it was through a blog written by one Lovine Mboya. Good day, lovely ladies.
Good day, Sheila.
So you just say hi. What are you looking at me thinking?
Oh my God.
Lovine, what's going on? Are you okay? Can we get you something?
Oh my God.
Are you happy?
Okay.
Are you happy?
Yes, I am.
It's really great to have both of you on set on Sheila Lives Out Loud. And I've just talked to MaryLize Biubwa, and her journey was not easy. But one of the things that both of you have confluence, and there's, a nice intersection happening, is social media. That you're able to unpack very difficult issues for young girls who are going through these things and do not have outlets to speak. In a nutshell, MaryLize, for anyone who's not watched the previous episode, just tell us a little bit about you and your experience before we find out a little bit about Lovine.
Oh well, MaryLize Biubwa, a very happy and positive person. Those are the things that she lives in pursuit of. And a girl who was happy, then an episode in her life changed her, but she pursued happiness again because she knew how it felt to be happy. And now she lives for happiness, not just for her, but for all girls across the world. So at the age of 10, growing out a normal life, living like any other normal 10-year-old, being sexually abused is not something so normal. But even more than that, after it happens and you're on your own, even when all your life you've lived through, appreciating some people, knowing that they'll be there for you through it all, you just basically have to learn how to live a different life, not differently in a bad way unless you make that choice, but it can be different in a positive way. But before that, there's a place that you have to come out from. And for me, that was the ultimate journey. For me, that was basically what brings me here today, trying to first get through the situation without necessarily forgetting it. Because most of the time people do tell you, try and forget it. It's not something you would forget. It's like a scar. It will always be there. Every time you look at yourself, that's one of the many things that you see about yourself. But then scars have their beauty as well. So for me, I choose to look at the scar as something beautiful, something that reminds me of an experience that I went through. And even after going through it, I rose above it. Like the beauty of the fact that it's something that I've healed from. A scar means something has healed. I healed from that situation. Right. And that's why I'm here today. Because for me, a girl child and a child generally has a voice. Most of the time, as adults, we don't pay attention to that kid's voice. So for me, it's basically to be a voice of reason for girls and children across the country.
All right, very well said, MaryLize. Lovine, tell us a little bit about you.
I'm Lovine Mboya. I am a blogger, a writer, even away from my blog. So what I do is I write stories. I love writing stories of that matter. Stories that if someone like me or someone who's not even like me reads, they will feel like I should make a different decision, or I should have done something, or I should have walked this path, or I should have done this or not done this, or now I can do this. So what I do, what I love doing a lot with my time is making a difference using the platforms I have, which is my blog, which is Facebook, which is Twitter, or even my Instagram.
Young ladies, just sitting here with you and listening to you talking about social media. About 10 years ago with MySpace, the makings of social media to what it is today. And you would talk to a lot of older generation Kenyans and you'd mention certain things to them and they'd look and think, huh? And now it's 10 years later and this online space is more alive than even what we physically see. All you have to do is just talk about digital migration and understand what that meant for television in Kenya today, what digital means for newspapers, not just in Kenya, but across the globe. It's a revolution. It's a platform where you can do a lot of good and you can also do a lot of harm. Now, using social media for good, because that is what you have both chosen to do, why is it necessary for you? Lovine, I'll actually start with MaryLize.
For me, social media is really vital. Every time I think of social media, you see, when social media came in, the only thing that was exposed to most of us via social media was the bad, the vices that come with social media. It's a platform where you can get an easy access, say, to porn material. It's an access where young ladies, due to the fact that everyone is chasing fame right now, everyone wants to post a nude picture of themselves so that they can be seen. But then I sat and thought, you see, one, social media never forgets. That's a fact. Two, it has always been a platform where you get to choose what you post. Even when you're posting that nude, it's something that you're aware. You had that moment to sit and think. Then for me, I sat and thought, and looking at myself and the kind of life I've lived, I looked back and I thought, I was 10 years old when whatever happened. I know the most appropriate age to access social media currently is 13 years and above, but I'm sure with whatever I was going through, even at 10, I know I would have used social media as a place to raise my voice because at that point I had no one to talk to, but social media was not something I would turn to, you know. So when I look at it that way, then I feel I can also utilize this platform because I know we have a lot of young people, we have a lot of primary school going children, we have a lot of high school girls and everything that comes with it. And these people are on social media. And the age limit varies from country to country. And because my intention is to speak to a girl child across the world, then social media become a very vital place that I can, use the platform to utilize and to express and to reach out to people.
Okay. Yeah. And giving voice to the voiceless, to those who cannot defend themselves. Lovine, what's your experience? Why is social media it for you?
I really value the power of social media, and maybe most people might not understand how powerful it is to share a story on Facebook or on Twitter or even on my blog, because most of these people, let's say, for example, MaryLize's story, the broken people, the people who've gone through an experience that they haven't maybe recovered from, or they're trying to find help and they can't really find that help. Most people are on social media. And if I log into Facebook today and I'm looking for that particular help, or I'm looking for a story that can help me do something or make a particular decision, it's the first place I will go to will be Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. And so for me, I think social media is a very, very powerful tool in how we use it, because it has been used to break people down. It has been used to build people up. And so I think at the end of the day, it's how you decide to use the site. Because for me, I use social media to post, to share people's wonderful stories of triumph, of happiness, of success in their businesses, stories that make a difference. And so I decided, if I am going to be on Facebook, because I would also like to note, I was the last person to join Facebook in our family. I was the last person to join Twitter. I was the last person of all people who love writing in my circle to start a blog. But I decided, if I am going to join Facebook, if I'm going to start a blog, if I'm going to use social media, I want to use it in a way that is going to make a difference. I want to use it in a way that is going to represent me and the things I believe in and the values I stand for. If I want to tell stories, because I have my own stories to tell, but there's so many people out here who have stories they would like to share out there. They don't just want to post, let's say, for example, nice selfies or food pictures or, you know, all
There's
that.
more to
There's
life.
more. There's
Those
more
are
to
part
life.
of life,
Exactly.
but those are not the life.
Only thing.
It's so great to be in the presence of a generation that understands that, yes, life is also about the good life, and we can take the food pictures and we can take our, yay, squad goal pictures, and that is fine. But that is not the only thing that we are placed on this planet to do. In choosing to give voice to the issues and the other side of the story, I can't help but imagine and think that you've got your whole lives ahead of you, and you've got to find funding for this writing, and you'd like to do it for the rest of your lives, and you've got to keep educating, and it's something you will do for the rest of your lives. But then comes this whole issue of employment and funding for all these initiatives that you're a part of. MaryLize, keeping going and being able to support yourself, how does that happen?
At some point, my dad literally let us go. Like, he stopped caring for us and stuff. There was a lot of domestic issues that were involved between him and my mom. And for me, clearing high school, I cleared high school with a very cool head that from here on out, it has always been about me, but now it's about the whole life and just me. And I have to figure myself out. That said, it has been a true struggle. It's not easy because you have to wake up, people have to see you okay and stuff. But you have things that you struggle with. You have literal demons that you have to fight every day. And it has not been easy. So when it comes to the works that I do and the things that I do, I dare say I'm the one person who appreciates volunteering. I volunteer a lot with a number of organizations. Why do I do a lot of volunteering? I do volunteering because there's a part of me that wants to do things. If I don't volunteer and wait for someone to say, employ me, I might not be able to fulfill that part. At that point when I needed someone to be there for me, I needed someone to be there for me, not because it's an employment, I needed someone to just be there for me. People need people to be there for them. I want to do that because there's a fulfilling that I'm looking for in that. When we talk about employment, I'm not necessarily employed. I have a number of short courses that I've done that have made me become a trainer of some sort. And at some point, you're called to train young people, especially youths, on different issues, and it's not a regular thing. And basically, that's the one thing that I sort of rely on. But when it comes to my upkeep and my sustaining my life and stuff, I, for one, am a student. I'm still doing my diploma in journalism and media studies because I couldn't do anything than that because that's what I could fund myself on. But right now I'm on a break, a forced break of some sort because finances had an issue.
Yeah, so you've got to find things to do.
Yeah,
so you
I
can
have.
find
It's things that I've been doing even when I was in school, but now I have to do them now all the time.
More full-time
Yeah,
now.
so for me, going to schools to talk to young girls, interacting with young girls in platform, interacting with fellow activists and feminists, where I can strengthen my abilities as an activist and a feminist, are basically the things I do on volunteer basis. And for me, most of the time people would sit and want to complain and say it's hard. For me, I know it's hard for me, but for me, it's not something I regret. It's something I do wholeheartedly. The little that I have, sometimes I have things that I need to go to. Like just a couple of days ago, the past weekend, my colleagues and I volunteered to mentor some kids in schools, and they were going to West Pokot to mentor students, and I have a number of mentees there. And it felt really bad because financially I couldn't commit to that. And I understand that it's hard and you can't. And when you tell people, people don't understand it. But I also understand that it's the part of me which knows I really wanted to, but I couldn't. And I know with
In time,
everything will
the
just
path
be
and
okay.
the provision will definitely be there for you.
Exactly.
What about you, Lovine? A writer is more difficult because you're behind the scenes. So there you are with your phone and your laptop. How do you meet those ends with funding?
Currently, I don't have an 8 to 5 job, which is what most people identify as work. I'm a freelance writer. So apart from doing the stories on my blog, I also do stories for other people's. I write content for other blogs as well, especially blogs that are doing the same thing as I am doing. And yeah, it might be conflict of interest sometimes when somebody calls you and say, oh, I saw a story on your blog. I'd like you to write for me a particular story. But I'm not sure you'll write because you also write the same stories. But I'm so grateful that people are reading the blog and are giving me work based on what I am doing with myself right now.
Right.
And I think for me, it's finding what you love. When it comes to funding, the money always comes once you start loving what you do. Because I got my first job immediately after campus because of my writing, the blog I work on, and the things I post on social media, and what I say, and the stories I do. I also got my second job after that first job because of the blog. And so I think it's when it comes to funding, for me, when it comes to money and passion, I'd rather work on what I know best first and master it and do it so well, so that if somebody looks at what I am doing, they say, oh, if you want this particular story, you want this particular content, you want this particular thing done, she's the one to do it for you. Yeah, so for me, I think it's meeting talent where talent meets opportunity and money comes in between.
Okay,
Yes.
very well said. And how long have you been writing? How long has the blog been running?
My blog is 4 years old.
Wow.
We recently moved to .com. We were still on wordpress.com. We are now at lovinemboya.com. But the first year of blogging, I never wrote anything on the blog. I posted like thrice because I didn't know exactly what it is I wanted to write about. And I didn't want to just be collecting content. Here is MaryLize, let's do 2 things about you. Here is, let's say, for example, another friend, let's do this about you. I wanted to have a particular thing I am writing about. And so the 4 years has been a journey of me trying to find myself in writing. I wanted something that I can wake up at 4 a.m., which I currently do. Wake up at 4 a.m., to start posting, to start editing, to start, to beef up the story and see what is missing, what is not. I wanted something that can drive me, that can make me, not feel like I don't have an 8-to-5 job, I don't have a constant salary, or I don't have this, so I'd have nothing to do with myself. I wanted to find, let me say, I wanted to find myself, to find why, my why.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your why is,
And my why
is the thing that drives you.
Yes. Yes.
Without a why, you may as well just sit down and wait until the why shows up. Okay. Now, in closing, because that's how quickly time runs on this show, I don't understand it, but that's how fast it goes. What do you see for the future? Where would you like your blog to go? What sort of change do you want to effect?
I want to tell even more stories, because if you ask me where I really want to go, I think I want to be at a point where if somebody wants something said, because so many people have so much in their hearts, so many people can effect change, so many people can inspire, can educate people, can motivate, can do great things and move mountains, but they don't have people who can actually, start them off. And one thing I have learned in running my blog is that many people actually don't know they have a story until I actually ask them, what really made you do this? And then they're like, oh, I think I will tell you that, but I don't think I want to say it now. And I'm like, no, that is the story I want, that thing that you don't want to say now. So I think for me, in a few years, I want to be at a point where people come to lovinemboya.com, not just to find inspiration, not just to find motivation, but to learn something new, but to make it becomes a point where the change happens for you. Like it's the platform where that happens for you. Yes.
Right. Excellent. And what about you, MaryLize, as you march forwards?
Well, for me, you see, sometimes, there are some terms I don't use in my life. There are some things I don't say in my life, but it reaches a point you really have to say them to make a point. For me, sorry to say, we are living in a very patriarchal society.
Don't even be sorry. It's the truth. It is what it is.
Sorry to also use the word hate. This is the only time I use the word hate, because I don't hate anything in life or anyone in life. I hate our cultures. We have very retrogressive cultures, and it cuts across. It's almost a spectrum, like in every other issue. And for me, I engage. Not only do I engage on, looking out for young girls and stuff, I engage on all other spectrums where it involve system change, policy changing, and everything. Because for me, if we are to end gender-based violence, we need to have systems that stand against gender-based violence. Then we need to have a kind of leadership that speaks against gender-based violence. So it cuts across. I have to be interested politically. I have to be interested in policy making. I have to be interested in issues to do with girls and children. So for me, I pay attention. So 10 years from now, I want to be someone who played a role in ensuring we have a change of system, a complete change of system. Because then I look back and I think, thank you to culture, my mom did not really have a voice, because culturally, women has to do according to what their husbands say. And because of that, she didn't really have a voice. Her voice is taken away by culture. Thank you to culture, your family name is more important than the things that happen that really hurt people individually. Thank you to culture, we live in a society, when I talk this, to a room full of people, not many will relate unless they went through it. I want people to be able to relate to the situation, not because you went through it, but because it's something that I'd live my life looking out for Sheila, because I wouldn't want something like that to happen to her, because I understand the damage that comes with something like that happening to her. So for me, 10 years from now, I need a kind of redemption, a kind of change, a kind of transformation, a kind of moving forward, a positive kind of moving forward.
A good revolution, really. That's what it is. Ladies, thank you for making the time to live out loud with us. The doors are open wide. We are going to post their social media handles and, of course, the blog spot where you can catch up with these amazing, life-changing stories. I know I'm a member. That's how some of these stories come to life. And it is such an honor to be a part of a movement that's all about creating positive change. That's why we live out loud. We are going to wrap up now, live and direct, come on, from Westwood Hotel in sunny Nairobi. Thank you for catching up with us on this channel. Remember to subscribe and hit notifications so you don't miss out on the good stuff. Until we see each other again, it's bye for now and live out loud.